Okay, so I thought I would do a silly video that would also be kind of cool. So here lately, y'all have seen more footage of Sydney the bird in our videos because for some reason now when I pull the camera out, she likes to start dancing and being silly for the camera. So I decided, why not? Let's talk about Sid for a little bit. Okay, so her name is Sydney Brienne. And when we first got her, the other two cockatoos that we had, one of them, Delilah, could not say Sydney, so she used to call her Siddy, and it kind of stuck to where Siddy became her name. So we call her Siddy, and then she used to say her name. She doesn't talk as much with us, but we got Sydney when Hurricane Ike was, or right after Hurricane Ike had come through Houston. My sister had talked to her owner. She turned out to be allergic to her. And so she needed her for somewhere for her to go. And so my sister agreed to take her. And I don't remember exactly how many days after Ike. I just remember the hurricane coming in and we got her. So shortly after that, I was adamant that was my sister's bird. Like through and through. Like, that's your bird. Well, we had her for maybe 3 weeks a month, and I got to where I could go up to her cage and, like, put my hand in her cage, and she wouldn't bite me or anything, and she would just, like, let me pet her, and then that same day, within a couple hours, I had her on my hand, and I could walk her through the house. So, for this bird, let me tell you how amazing that is that was able to happen. So, I was Sydney's third owner. We were her third home and third owner. Cockatoos or birds like that, even some other animals like that, they tend to bond to one person, and that's who they love. With the birds, I don't know the statistics or anything, but with those birds, sometimes you can get them to accept a second owner. Not always, but Sid had gone to the third. So I really, for us, we really didn't see her ever bonding with any of us in that house. We just figured she would probably eat, and we'd make her as happy as she could with toys and stuff, but we figured we'd never be able to touch her or anything. And because when we first got her, she would freak out in the cage, and so we'd back up and we just talk to her, and then she'd calm down, and then she was fine again. But never really saw us being able to bond with her. So we had her for about a month, about 3 weeks to a month. And she got to where, like, I could get her out of the cage and stuff. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, this bird has accepted a third owner. And how, like, crazy is that? Because you do hear stories of a person who's had a bird for a long time. And then the bird, when something happens to that person or that person, dies, gets sick, can't take care of them anymore, they grieve the loss of that person. And some of them will grieve so bad that they'll end up dying because they'll stop eating and stuff. Well, for Sid, taking on a third person was huge. And so ever since then, I was always like, that's not my bird. But when she would go on my hand and I would be able to walk around the house and stuff, it was like, fine, I'm a bird person. So that's the story of how we got Sydney. And through the years, I'll take her out and I'll play with her, I'll hold her. I don't like she doesn't go out anywhere. My sister had one bird that you could take her to PetSmart and stuff. She stays in the house. Anyway, she has become more and more outgoing. We had a second bird and they would talk. Delilah and Sydney would talk. But when we came in the house, she wouldn't talk anymore to us. Like, she would just make her peeping noises or ring her bell or whatever if she wanted something. And I was like, okay, that's just her personality. Like, she knows she's a bird. Where our other birds, I think that they believe they were humans. Like, they would talk to us and have conversations and everything. And it was like, that's fine. It's just the kind of bird she is. Well, when Delilah died, we were kind of like, oh, like, how is this going to be for Sydney? Well, she actually has done a lot better than we thought. There was a little bit of kind of like, she was just her and didn't really do anything. But when Billy and the kids moved in, we noticed a whole new side of Sydney coming out. And one of those is she loves to dance, and she learns new moves. Like, she would go from this, like just bobbing her head up and down, to doing this like thing like this. And it's so fun. And we moved our table to where like it's right in front of her cage. So not like maybe like a couple inches away from her cage, because then she'll try to eat our table. But anyway, so it's like she's part of the dinner. Like, if her cage is right here and our table's right here, we have chairs all around but the side that, like, her cage door side. And so it's like she's always eating dinner with us, and she's always, you know, sitting there like, oh, if we're sitting at the table, she's part of it. And so here lately I've noticed that when we're doing a vlog or something, she is so funny because she'll start dancing to get our attention, or if we turn it on her, like, she starts dancing for the camera. So to see her personality come out more and more and more, it's like, oh wow, this is a great bird. So that's kind of my video, how we got Sydney. They can live a really, really long time, you know, 60 to 80 years. And so a lot of people, they'll say, you know, put them in your will who they will go to if they outlive you. And so we already have somebody. If something were to happen to me, my sister would probably get her, unless she gets to the point where she's really okay with Billy. If she's really okay with Billy and trusts him and lets him like carry her and stuff like that, then he can keep her. If not, and for some reason something happened to me fairly soon before she's bonded with him, then my sister would most likely get her, because she'll tolerate my sister. So it's just really cool to see the type of personality that she has. And she's definitely a bird. She definitely knows she's a bird, but she's still kind of fun. And we tracked her back, if I did all my math right, she was born in 97. And so she's 19, or around 19-ish. So it's really cool. I was like, this bird is going to live forever. Because the way we estimated it, she had lived with the first owner for 7 years. And then she lived with the second owner for 5 years. And then I've had her for 7 years. So that makes her 19. So it's really, really cool and really fun to see this bird like live for so long. Because Cleo died when she was 10. She got a respiratory infection, and they're all lungs. So we did our best, but they're, you know, statistically she wasn't going to make it. Then Delilah was 13. And we had Delilah and Cleo both since they were we were a part of their life since they were babies, so that they would, you know, accept us and into their home, and like, oh, these people are coming to get me. Before both of them were able to be adopted, we learned all the care from feeding them as babies and everything, and we would go up there like an hour or 2 hours every day, or almost every day, to like bond with them and feed them, so that they learned, oh, okay. So we had Delilah and Cleo since babies, but we got Sid when Sid was already Sydney when she was 12. So it's kind of cool to see, like, oh my god. And I keep telling people, like, this bird's gonna live forever, just because of her personality and stuff. And I always say she's kind of a butt when she wants to be, so that's why she'll live forever. But anyway, that's our story of how we got Sydney, and she's pretty little funny bird. So get ready to see more videos of her, because she thinks she's hilarious and she laughs, so it's really funny. She'll start doing something and then giggle. So I'll try to catch more footage of her, but that is how we got Sydney. Bye guys.